Goblin Solo, smallest paintball gun to date. It draws its power from a single shot shell which resembles a shotgun shell. These shells are broken down into three main components. First off, you have your brass spacer. Think of this as your control bore kit for the Goblin. The Goblin comes with several of these, each one in a different bore diameter. They're simply rolled up and inserted into the shells. You can use glue to hold them in place. Second component, your air reservoir. The velocity the Goblin achieves depends completely on this shell and whether you use it with CO2, compressed air, and how long you charge it for, and what PSI you charge it at. The last piece of the shell is the ball housing. It's just a green piece of plastic that fits over your air adapter like so. If you're going to want to use your Magnum shell with normal 68 caliber paintballs, you're going to want to use this plastic ring at the back of the shell here and make sure it touches the back of the air housing. Now with First Strike it's a bit different. You're going to want to actually rotate this so that the plastic ring is facing the front of the shell and insert the First Strike into here. Remember, don't use any brass spacers should you choose to use First Strike rounds with the Goblin.
In this picture, you can view some of the diverse ammunition base that the Goblin Solo can fire. At the top, we have the First Strike round. Below it is the standard 68 caliber paintball, and under that is the 43 caliber buckshot containing 4 43 caliber balls. At the bottom is the black Nitro Express shell, which fires 12 6mm airsoft pellets. Both 43 caliber buckshot and First Strike require you use no spacer, and that you rotate the shell. Since taking this picture, I've learned that you should also use a paper wad behind the First Strike round. You can see a paper wad behind the 43 caliber buckshot round. At a minuscule 106 grams, the Goblin is the lightest paintball marker ever made. Even when fully loaded, the Goblin still weighs only 134 grams. This includes your paintball, shell, and air charge. To properly aim the Goblin Solo, you do not line your iron sights flush like you would expect to in other markers. Instead, lower the front of the Goblin down so that the middle sight is below the two outside sights. Do not squeeze the trigger. Make a fast, steady pull. Because of the valve system, this will be much more beneficial to consistency and accuracy. If possible, use both hands to steady the Goblin. Through shooting the Goblin over 100 times with trial and error, I found that shooting using this method is much more effective for hitting targets than using conventional firing methods as you would on other handguns.
One key feature scenario players are going to like about this gun is it can be hidden almost anywhere and be brought onto a scenario field to assassinate a general or VIP. For instance, did you know I had this gun all along in my mask? It was not comfortable, but if you were a general, you'd be dead.
Some applicable uses for the Goblin Solo include high stakes poker.
Because some participants of this game were minors, we had to change poker to go fish.
Any fours?
Go fish.
You got a queen? Got any queens?
Yeah. That was all I got. He's got a gun!
When your main marker goes down. Uh-oh. Out of air and balls. Or am I? Alright. And of course, Airsoft. When using the Goblin Solo as an airsoft gun, it makes quite a formidable compact shotgun. Unfortunately, my hand chronometer was never able to gauge the speed of the airsoft pellets leaving the barrel. Through range tests, I have found it effective within 50 feet using airsoft pellets. Below 40 feet offers your best accuracy patterns. On firing the .43 caliber buckshot, I found accuracy decreased very rapidly. I only recommend it for point-blank ranges under 25 feet. However, in this area you have a greater chance of hitting a target than with a single .68 caliber projectile. If concealment is not your style, the Goblin comes with a holster that fits molly vests and can carry up to 2 extra shells. At first, reloading is sort of a pain, but with just a little bit of practice can become lightning fast. That wasn't very much. When firing 3 balls, I was only able to reach a max velocity of 133 feet per second. Here is 20 feet with standard .68 caliber paintballs. .30 feet. .40 feet. 50 feet. Unfortunately, at this range, accuracy greatly decreased when using standard .68 caliber paintball. Here is the first strike test.
The target I've selected today is approximately 1.5 by 3.5 feet tall and wide. My test should yield if the first strike rounds have any positive effect when being used in the Goblin Solo. Let's see what they do.
The range for this test is 50 feet. Unfortunately, the first 3 first strike rounds were destroyed inside the shells. After this point, I started applying paper wads behind the first strike rounds. Without using the paper wad behind the first strike rounds, you greatly increase the chance of damaging the first strike round before it leaves the Goblin.
Here's where I found the stray first strike round. I just dug it out of the snow. From the camera, we are actually 74 feet. My final verdict. Is the Goblin cool? It's pretty damn cool. Is it fun? That's pretty friggin' fun. I mean, if you have enough skill to eliminate a player using just one shot in a gun that basically has no barrel, you know your skills have reached a point where... That's all I can say. Would I use the Goblin as a main marker on a field? No, I would not. It's just not practical enough. A single barrel, single shot handgun does not get you very far in the field, especially if you're recharging these shells every time you shoot. Would I use the Goblin in a scenario game as a concealed weapon? Yes. The Goblin is so tiny I can hide it almost anywhere on my body. Do I recommend you buy the Goblin? Well, that's completely up to you. It has a very small applicable use niche that not many players will meet, I have to say honestly. But if you want something that's fun to shoot around the backyard, you play a lot of scenario games, or you just want to have the novelty of it, it is a hell of a fun time to shoot. I can't say it any more basic than that.